All right, welcome everybody. As mentioned before, my name is Cody. I am from our Future Students team here at University of the Sunshine Coast. Now, I'm actually based on our Sunshine Coast campus, and I am here right now, which is fantastic. We will let you know a bit more about our other campuses a little bit later on, but just to get started, some simple housekeeping. There is a Q&A tab at the top or bottom of your screen, depending on what device you are on. And this allows you to ask questions all throughout the evening. Now, we do have a really good team member here, Joe, who's also from our Future Students team, who will be answering those questions. So if you have any dying questions you are wanting to get answers straight away, could be on how about pathways or entry requirements, or really you just want to know more about our degrees or flexibility, start popping them in now, and we'll start answering those questions. Now, if there are any really good, juicy questions to save for our fantastic panelists, a little bit later on, we will have a Q&A panel discussion. Joe will highlight those ready to ask a little bit later on. Now, talking about panelist members, we are joined by Senior Lecturer of Computer Science, Erica Mealy, who will be joining us tonight, as well as Alex, one of our current students who is studying with us as well, and he can talk about his university experience as well. So let's get started. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we work and live and recognize their continuing connection to land, water, and community. We pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. So a little bit about UniSC. Now we are a multi-campus university. So we have five major campuses, not including the fact that we also have a campus down in Adelaide. We have Fraser Coast, Gympie, and Caboolture, which are our three more regional campuses, and they offer a range of specialty degrees on campus that are designed to get employment in those local footprints. These include pathway programs, education programs, social work programs, and nursing. Now, if you are passionate about IT or computer science and you do live close to one of these campuses, even though you might be studying online or maybe at Sunshine Coast or Moreton Bay, if you are close to one of our other campuses, you can utilize those facilities how you see fit. All of our campuses are available to you as a UniSC student. Now, talking about our major campuses, Sunshine Coast and Moreton Bay, these are where you can study most degrees at UniSC, and these are what we call our full service campuses. They have a wealth of options available to you inside and outside of your studies, including the fact that an amazing amount of research centers are located here as well. Outside of obviously where you can study is how are we going to make sure you succeed? So we have a range of support services at UniSC. You can find them at usc.edu.au/support. And they come from a range of services from academic and study support. This could be around referencing workshops, journaling workshops, connecting with a study buddy, IT support, which I'm pretty sure Alex, one of our students who are joining us tonight, works in this kind of space. We also have a careers and employment team. Now, maybe you are passionate about studying IT or technology or wanting to go down the computer science or cybersecurity route, and you're going, you know what, I'm passionate about all this field. I just don't know what little pocket suits me best. You might want to connect in with our careers guidance counselors team, and they are a team with a wealth of knowledge across UniSC and fellow institutions where they'll be able to help navigate you the right direction that will kind of suit your passions, interests, and career goals to the degree that might suit you best, which is really cool. We have a health and well-being team, financial support, and a scholarship team. Now, something about our scholarships, although they have already closed for this year, they do open twice a year for new and current students. You can actually apply twice a year, every single year for the duration of your study. You might be surprised that you might miss out on your first time, and you might get all the way to your third year and get a $5,000 bursary. There are so many different scholarships available to you. It's actually one single application, and it automatically put you into more than 90% of the scholarships available at UniSC. We have student groups and partnership opportunities for face-to-face campuses and online study as well. We have counselling, disability and equity, as well as the student success team who will actually check in with you in your very first semester in your first couple of weeks. Now, I highly recommend, besides all these support services, if you are planning to study with us early next year, please go to orientation. They'll really prep you on all those next steps, as well as a chance to meet a range of other students as well. Now, I think this is a really fitting time to introduce you to one of our amazing academics, Erica Mealy. Erica, there's probably no point in me speaking about all the accolades about technology at UniSC. I think you'd be the best person to speak on this. I'll hand over to you, but please tell us all about your career here at UniSC, but also all the amazing things you're doing outside of teaching.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for inviting me along, Cody. It's one of the greatest pleasures I have is being able to work with our students. I teach into two first year courses, so if you do come and study with us, you'll get very familiar with my face. But it's one of the greatest and most rewarding things that I get to do is see those students who initially walk in going, oh, do I like robotics? Do I like computer science? Do I like cybersecurity? What am I thinking? And then walk along actually beside them through to their final years and then see them sort of grow their wings and go out into our industry and form part of our incredible alumni network. And the thing that has kept me at UniSC for nearly 10 years, February is 10 years for me, I've worked at just about all of the big universities in Brisbane. I've just recently been over to Hong Kong University because they've heard of the great things we're doing here in Queensland at UniSC. And we're so proud that we have incredible teachers that are here with us. We have had year after year of number one in teaching quality, number one in overall experience. We actually topped Australia in our postgraduate programs, came second in Australia for our undergraduate programs, for learning materials, for jobs and outcomes. There's actually so many awards, we can't fit them all on this slide and make it readable. And I work with a genuinely amazing group of people, and every single one of our staff love working with our students. And to me, that's the big difference that we get, or one of the big differences coming to UniSC, is that you really get to make a relationship with your academics. We see you in the classroom week in and week out. You're not one of 1,000 or one of 600. You're there with us. You have our emails. You can chat to us on Teams. And we're really there to see you succeed because we acknowledge that the students coming in, you're the future of technology. And so we want to empower people to be able to do that. And we do that with having the most up-to-date campuses in all of Australia. Our particularly Moreton Bay campus is the most technology and most technological campus in the Southern Hemisphere. It has more cabling in just one of its buildings than the entire rest of UniSC put together. And so when you come and do tech with us, you actually are getting to use the latest and greatest, whether it's networking or robots or any of that. We are up to date, up to the minute, and we are super connected with our industry advisory board. If you know anything about tech, you'll know names like Microsoft and Dell and Cisco. These are all the people that are on our advisory board, and these are the people that we go, what do you want your grads to have? What do you want us to have our students learning? And we work very closely with them to be able to do that, which, if we go to the next slide, brings us to the next part of our program. So we designed these programs. We've recently uplifted a redesign of our technology programs so that it's AI first. So we include it in our degrees. If you have more questions on that, we can talk about that in a bit. But AI had to be a core part, security had to be a core part, and work integrated learning is a core part of every one of our programs. Sounds like a big word. Work integrated learning means learning on the job and doing real problems. And this is not like just in your final year, which you might see at some other places. We do this from the first year. So my first year students have been working with me, our robotics team, and an industry partner, and some farmers. You might have heard of us being at the Eka this year, or there's an incredible video you can go search up of us sheep herding with robot dogs. And my first years were doing that. We've had projects with GovHack, and we've had students who end up starting with the council as part of their capstone project and then continuing on with them. So we have incredible partnerships with so many different industry partners that every single one of our students who's coming through is getting to be exposed to these industry scale projects from their first year and being able to implement and build that portfolio so that when they walk in to their programs or to their jobs after they go, they have a whole pile of proof that they are really great students. And that's not even mentioning our industry credentials project, which we brought online when we brought Microsoft partnership on board for our Moreton Bay campus opening. So every year of your degree with us, you also do industry credentials. So these are international certifications for things like Python, for cybersecurity, for machine learning. And it means that it's a independent recognition of your quality as a student. And what we found, much to my colleagues' distress, is that our students are so good, they tend to get jobs before they're supposed to finish and have to go part-time so that they can actually work and learn at the same time, which means that my numbers coming through look a bit funny, but it's great for us to see how much impact our students have. Thanks, Cody. So speaking of which, computer science program, I'm very passionate about this because this was my degree. I started this about 5 years ago now at the Moreton Bay campus. Students from here have worked as Googlers. They've gone to Atlassian, Cybermerc, which is a very large cybersecurity company on our Sunshine Coast, councils, Telstra, all these kinds of places. And I like to describe our computer science one as looking at all of the computers. So we look at hardware, we look at the operating system, we look at the basis of machine learning. We do a little bit of math. It's not scary math. I promise if I can do it, then you can absolutely do it too. But it's real deep dive. We program every single semester. We build things that actually do stuff in the real world. And we do that using the latest and the best industry technologies, including Java, JavaScript, C and C++. We build Android apps, and we really help you to build that track record of quality program development throughout your whole program. Our other program is our Bachelor of Information and Communications Technology. And so people have asked me for a lot of years, what's the difference between these two? And the main difference is CS goes really deep. We do a lot of programming and we do a bit of technical work. The ICT program is our very design and human focused. And if we've learned anything about AI, we've learned that the importance of designing it properly and being able to have that human element working with technology. And that's what our ICT program is all about. So if you're passionate about solving problems, working with people to build systems that work for them, if you're passionate about data science, any of these kinds of areas, then our ICT program is a beautiful broad program that allows you to an extent to pick your own adventure and follow your deep dive passion in ICT while giving a really broad and thorough introduction into all of our courses. And you get the benefit of those industry credentials as well. And I'll hand back to Cody.
Thanks, Erica. As you can tell, there's a lot that overlap between the two programs, but there's a lot of differences as well. I'm going to dive into a lot more of that in our panel discussion a little bit later on. Now, just a reminder, we do have that Q&A tab. If there are any questions that have been sparked from that small amount of program knowledge and information from Erica, start throwing them into the Q&A tab now. We'll start answering them for you. Now, we're going to talk about how to gain entry into UniSC and into our technology-based programs. So there are a range of ways to get into UniSC, from if you left high school recently or in the last maybe 10 years or so and you did do an ATAR, you can gain entry into UniSC through this method. Very quite common for high school students. With that, we also have the early offer guarantee. So if you're in high school right now, or maybe you're in year 10 or year 11 and you're going to be in graduating the next couple of years, we have a fantastic program for year 12 students where you can apply for an early offer guarantee through the recommendation of your school. Touch base with your careers advisor or your school's counselor, or jump onto our homepage and look up early offer guarantee and see how the T's and C's work for those year 12 students. Now, if you are someone who has done no prior study, or it's been a very long time, maybe you're looking at changing careers, or maybe you think, you know what, I don't know if I have the academic rigor to go into university. I just don't have the confidence to do that sort of academic writing just yet. We have a fantastic program called Tertiary Preparation Pathway, which is a fee-free one semester bridging program. It goes for 6 months or 12 weeks, to be honest. And it is designed to give you all the academic skills you need. Now, there's this one unit called TPP 101, which will literally teach you how to reference, how to academic write, how to do, it comes with literacy and numeracy support, how to journal article, how to search up our online libraries and tools. It is a fantastic program and it's completely fee-free. And on the basis of completing TPP, or Tertiary Preparation Pathway, you can gain direct entry into a range of our programs, not just IT or technology programs such as computer science, which is really cool. Gives you a wealth of opportunity here at UniSC, and even some other institutions do recognize our TPP program. We have diploma pathways, and we also have selection rank using a vet qualification. So if you've done a certificate 3 or a cert 4 or a diploma, as long as it's an AQF, Cert 3, Cert 4, or a diploma, you can actually use this as an academic ranking to gain entry into Uni SC. So, for example, a Certificate 3 gives you a rank or an ATAR of 68, a Cert 4 gives you a rank score of 74, and a diploma gives you a rank score of 82. Now, if you come and you've completed a Certificate 4 in cybersecurity, for example, or maybe a Cert 4 in IT or a diploma of IT, you can actually also apply for credit as well, including a direct entry pathway. So you might even save some time and money from your prior learning to gain entry as well as being able to knock off some time off your degree, which is really cool. We have Access Uni SC scheme. Jump on our Uni SC access page to be able to find out more about that option. It's designed to give you a little bit more favorable points to help you gain entry, as well as the Indigenous Direct Entry and Access Scheme as well, ideas, which is really cool. It's designed to support our Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander students in terms of entry, support, and mentorship along the way. So how do you apply through a Uni SC? So first you need to search our online website or our study guide to find the degree that suits you best. So for example, if you're looking at computer science, you need to find that little special QTAC code and its entry requirements. It might have a certain ATAR score to gain entry for February next year. And then you're going to go apply online at qtac.edu.au for all our Uni SC degrees. Now, with applying through QTAC, which is the Queensland Tertiary Admission Centre, this is where all universities use generally to apply for any degree, you get 6 preferences. So, preference number 1 is your dream program, all the way through to preference number 6 as your most last resort program or a pathway into your dream program. What I always recommend that if you know exactly you want to study the Bachelor's of Computer Science, for example, and you know that's exactly what you want to do, I still highly recommend putting a second preference in for TPP as a backup option, or what we like to call a pathway option into your dream program. Because what we like to see is that you're either going to get straight in, and if you don't meet the entry requirements, you're going to go through a pathway program into your dream program, into your dream career. And that's what it's all about. Now, what we would like to do is support you with your admission process. There's usually a fee attached to a QTAC application. And tonight, for everyone who is attending, we're actually going to pay for that $155 voucher. No need to scan the QR code tonight. We will send you an email tomorrow morning with a copy of this presentation, as well as a QTAC voucher form as well. You just got to fill out a couple of details and we'll send you a unique code, and you can use this to complete your QTAC application if you haven't done so already. You can use this to apply for any of our Uni SC programs, which is a fantastic opportunity to save you a little bit of money, but also get you straight into that next step because the next offer round comes out in the next 2 weeks. My favorite part of the evening. If Erica and Alex could jump online with me, would love to see you guys. Start throwing your questions into the Q&A tab. Please, if there's any outstanding questions you would really love to know, we'd love to answer them for you tonight in the Q&A panel discussion. Thank you for joining us. Now, Erica, we've been had the chance to meet you already tonight and understand a little bit about your background. But Alex, if you could introduce yourself, what you're studying, what year up to your degree you're studying, and also where are you based?
So my name's Alex. Thanks for passing over to me. I am in my second year, well, going into my third year next year of our ICT Bachelor. I live in Gympie, so it's about an hour from the Sippy campus. There's a campus here, but unfortunately we don't offer ICT or computer science degrees. So I've done pretty much my entire course online. Obviously that might be an adjustment for a lot of you guys that might be fresh out of school or still in school maybe. But I kind of had a alternate pathway, dropped out in grade 10, didn't really know what I was going to do, did distance ed, didn't get an ATAR, nothing like that. Kind of floated around for a little while, tried to find something that I was passionate about. And if you know anything about video games, you know you need a pretty good gaming PC to keep up with the current space. And I got kind of introduced to building my own, buying Facebook Marketplace bombs, stuff like that. I've still got, a parts cupboard that's probably worth more than my current computer. But that kind of built my interest, and I eventually picked up a Cert 3 at TAFE doing ICT, which gives you an entry rank into university. So I was very stoked to find out I could actually continue my studies, even though I didn't get an ATAR or anything like that. And I'm coming into my third year. I've done so many cool projects. And yeah, I'm getting into the third year where most of it's just, building up your LinkedIn basically. And yeah, I've had a blast really. So
Yeah, that's great to hear. And it's great to hear that you've come through such a different pathway system versus maybe the traditional finishing school and going on to it. You've done it through a mix of study and work experience and personal interests. And we always find those students with those true personal interests or passions do really, although they may have not come from an academic background or the perception of an academic background, they do really well in these programs where the passion overrides the outcome, and you get those fantastic grades because you're not just doing it for an assignment, you're doing it because you're fundamentally interested in it. And what that tells us is that you're most likely going to be really, really good at your job, which is also really important, and you enjoy what you do. And I think that's why all of us go on to study. For some of us, maybe like Erica, who goes on to study for the rest of their life and does research and keeps on going. For
I just
others,
want to
like
Peter Pan. I never want to grow up. I'll just keep doing research.
And Eric is probably not the only past student that I have met. Even student ambassadors like Alex, who actually stay with the uni for quite a long time because they found such a passion for it. They keep on researching and going through further understanding. I was definitely one of those ones who wanted to just do my assignments, get it all done, and get straight into the workforce. And everyone has a different passion. I know my partner, who's a physiotherapist, has not stopped doing research since the day she graduated. It's a lot of statistics and data analysis, in my opinion, but everyone's got their passions.
And
Um,
look, we have people from every kind of persuasion come into our classrooms. And that's what I really love is we can have those authentic conversations. And I talk to my first years particularly. And, there are people who, have families at home or have other jobs. And, Ps do get degrees. I don't want to take away from achievement in any way, but, there are students where you have so much on, making sure you pass, that is your number one goal. And then we have the students who are like, I call them seven or death. And I used to identify that way. I now have a family. I now identify the other way. But we actually have students, and probably in CS, we actually get a lot more diverse students, I think, than some of our other programs and ICT. Because we do have those people who are like, oh, look, I became an XYZ because that's where I was going. But I've discovered I'm 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and I really want to do tech. And the people come back and they're honestly my favorite kind of students because you can see the passion. It just like comes out of them like Alex. And
yeah,
they
that's
can
really good.
talk specifically to one of our questions that's just come up.
And that's fantastic. And it is really one of those degrees that requires like a fundamental passion to, especially when it comes to the troubleshooting and the exploration of problem solving. I find that with engineers, health practitioners, they all have that same mentality of not knowing the answer and have to find a solution. It's a really good mindset to have, and I'm sure you can apply it inside and outside the workplace in this sort of setting. And I think that really passed on to a really great question, which is around that work integrated learning. Now, Erica, you brought it up before already about the diversity of work integrated learning opportunities, and would love to dive into a deeper. But Alex, you're coming up to your third year. I know you're most likely going to do some sort of internship throughout your degree, and you're probably saving it probably for your third year to use it for an employment opportunity. What's your current plan at this rate? I know you still got, you're going to enjoy your Christmas break, but you've got to kind of plan on what you want to do for some sort of internship or some sort of work experience opportunity.
yeah, so I am very fortunate in my position. I've been volunteering with the uni and I've been working with the uni basically since I started my degree. That kind of got my foot in the door. I'm working at the IT help desk right now. So if you become a current student, you have Canvas problems, there's a high chance if you call on a Monday, I will answer the line. And so I've been very fortunate in that role. But obviously, a lot of IT, there's so many niche cases and so much experience you can gain in so many different areas that I didn't even know of. And I'm coming to my third year. And there's people in the workplace that find out new things every day. And I think that's the coolest thing ever. But work integrated learning, obviously I'm coming into my third year. I got to make some big choices that are kind of scary. But work integrated learning really isn't one of them. It's a no-brainer. It's a way that basically you get experience hands-on in the workplace. You get to put what you've learned in your course into practice without having the scary, like, full-time work in a new workplace. You basically get to use it as a subject. So you would do it, I think it's 96 hours up to 120 over your semester. And I definitely want to go to either a council or another kind of local area in Gympie. Council, we have the hydroelectric dam. They have like a massive IT team pretty much. I know for a hydroelectric dam, you wouldn't think so, but there's about 50 people employed there. So yeah, either one of those would be amazing to get more connections, really. I've already met so many amazing people at uni, and that was before I even started my IT job. So
Yeah, that's really good to hear. And Erica, like we were talking about before, besides the diversity of jobs that we can, I got two-part question. How do we prepare students to do internship because they are representing the university in some way, shape, or form? And the second part, is there ways that we help them find the right internships?
Yes, and yes. But to unpack that a little bit, so we do work with our students, and so part of it is throughout our programs, we will have industry connection points. A lot of our assessment pieces will be styled in a way that actually applies it into industry. So in second year, operating systems, they're writing report that would be a pitch to a C-suite, so CEO, CTO, CIO type executive level of a company. So their projects that they're building and the things that they're delivering on the way through, they actually will do that in an industry style. So as Alex said, it becomes a bit of a, oh, cool, yeah, I've done that for many of our students because that's how we build. We don't like these kind of almost, ridiculous thought experiments that don't mean anything. We like really concrete, applied demonstration of knowledge, and we love it when our students can actually follow a passion as well. So we do try where we can to allow students to go, well, actually, in our programming course in the first semester across both programs, I normally do students' choice or option A or option B. And so I've had students who've built a scheduling application for Safe Uni SC, our security team on campus. I've had students who've built weather apps for Kentucky in the US because that's where their family live and they want to be able to summarize that for them. So we give you the opportunity and really support you with that. With our capstone level projects, there's two ways you can do it. One is fully embedded in industry, and we do that in places where we have known partners that we work very closely with. So Unity Water is one of our valued partners who is a water provider across the footprint of our campuses. They may be the ones you're talking about, Alex, with the hydroelectric, or they might be a different one. And in those cases, you'd be fully embedded into their IT team. Where we don't have IT teams to embed into, we have our incredible academic team that comes alongside you. So our current coordinator, Associate Professor Ant Bedford, he's an absolute gun when it comes to this. He's there every week meeting with you, sort of helping slowly to take those sort of training wheels off and then letting the students meet directly with the clients to be able to deliver something that actually makes a difference. So this semester we had teams delivering projects for cybersecurity through neonatal nursing programs. We had a number of teams that worked directly with Sunshine Coast Council. One worked on a not-for-profit application for digital privacy for people with a disability. So we get companies come to us and go, hey, we need some students. And we're like, yep, let us help you out. And that's where a number of those placements will come. But students are also free to use their networks and supported to use their networks as well. So there's so many different ways we can support our students in doing that, but you are absolutely not alone. And that's not even mentioning our work integrated learning team and our careers team that you mentioned earlier, Cody.
That's fantastic. It sounds like you get a lot of like networking, a bit of a pun, but a lot of networking opportunities within the program and a lot of connection. Even if you're studying online, there's a great way to meet other students, working professionals, industry professionals, and academics who end up being lifelong friends along the way. And obviously, scaling, I guess, your network of people where those once you graduate or even close to the end, like Alex is trying to prepare for now, about those how to prepare for those next steps, and be the most hireable person through relationships, through I guess, passion areas of employment as well, which is really cool to see. Now, there's some questions starting to flow through from our audience. I think the first one would be a really good question for you, Erica, is besides the fact that we talked about what is the difference between CS and ICT, what is the difference with their Google certificates and industry certs?
Yes, so there is probably 2 to 3 different kinds of certificates that we build into our programs. So there's our Google certificate is specifically built into our computer science program at this stage. If you do ICT, you will get parts of it, but there are currently 5 parts that go towards this Google career certificate. It comes out of the Coursera platform, and we were one of the first universities in Australia that were offered this opportunity based on our credential program, which actually has won international awards. And so this is a very hands-on one. So in my particular courses, the way I use it as a supplement to the self-directed learning that you do. So it'll give you a try and do this. Here are the steps to achieve it. And it's competency-based, which means you can just keep going until you've managed to actually basically do the work that you need to do. We also have some more introductory level certificates called our Information Technology Specialist. And these are the internationally recognized ones in languages like Python, databases, and a number of others. They are instead of your exam. So instead of having to do an exam for us and then maybe going and doing this independently outside, this is your exam. And you happen to get a piece of paper from year one. If you're successful in Python, semester 1, year 1, you can walk out with one of your certificates as well as the credit for the course. And then we also have our Microsoft fundamentals, which a little bit in the middle. In our cybersecurity program, we're also working with a number of different providers to bring in some of the latest cybersecurity ones as well. So the question I saw also looked at what is the difference. So the ICT program specifically has Google, as well as the Microsoft Azure AI fundamentals course built into it. Our ICT program specifically has our AI data, Microsoft Azure Data Fundamentals course built into it in ICT 320. And the security course, SEC 303, has the Microsoft Security Identity and Compliance course built into it. But the great thing with both of our programs is we share electives. So if you want to do ICT, you can pick up the courses that would also include the rest of the Google certificate, or pick up those that would also include our AI fundamentals, for instance, or vice versa. So if you wanted to pick it up in CS, you could also get the data fundamentals in that course.
Yeah, I love the practicality of that. Like get not only getting that upskilling in terms of completing each one of our courses, but getting that certificate that you can use in the workplace now and gain employment, showing, hey, I'm currently studying, but I'm already certified in this, this, and this, and I want to work in this sort of workplace. That's really cool. I had no idea, and I work at the university. Um, that's really cool to see. So I guess this is a question that's coming in around flexibility. Balancing study, work, family, all those commitments can be really challenging. Um, Erica, I'll go to you next, but I'm just going to go to Alex first. Alex, what does studying a semester look like for you? You are an online student. How many classes a week do you have? How many sort of hours are you kind of committing and balancing it all?
Yeah, so I am a little bit different as an online student, but I am a full-time student. So I pick up about 8 hours of lectures. So that's 4 classes, 2 hours long. You show up, it's usually, you do a little bit of theory, about 30, 40 minutes, and then the rest will be prac. So you'll learn a subject, maybe a language even. In my last course, it was about a language every 2 weeks, which was frightening to say the least. But basically, you would have the 8 hours of lectures, and then a lot of it is self-directed study. So I would do about 16 hours of study a week, and that is a bit excessive. But yeah, coming into my third year, I was kind of like, oh wow, I gotta lock in. The topics are getting a little serious to just open the textbook night of the exam. Um, but I also, everyone's got to eat, so I work 25 hours a week, part-time usually. Obviously, I have casual employment with the uni as well. I'm also a student ambassador as well as IT help desk. I'm torn between my two favorite positions. But yeah, I also have a third job at the RSL and locally, so I balance all of that. And I wouldn't say it's actually anywhere near as scary as they say. I know in my first year I struggled a lot, but I wish you could see behind me right now. I gotta blur it out. There's actually a massive whiteboard back there, like full on lecturer style. And I have my final dates for my final exams still up there. So yeah, it's all about balancing, and it is self-directed, but your lecture is always there. So.
Yeah, so there's a bit of responsibility when it comes to being an online student. I know it's something I really struggled with. The really great thing about some of our degrees and even when I studied was I had the combination where I chose certain subjects on campus, but when that subject wasn't available on a day that I could fit in due to my work commitments, that subject actually had an online option as well. Now, you see this across some business degrees, maybe even certain IT courses in some other programs like law. Unfortunately, degrees like maybe like nursing require you to be on campus to study the full program itself. So it all depends on what you study. But I found that I only went to uni being an on-campus student, maybe like 2 or 3 days a week. And the rest of it, like you said, is about self-directed learning in a sense of doing your readings, doing your journals, doing your assignments and prepping for those exams as well. So it's a bit of a juggling act. And Erica, do you have any advice in terms of flexibility and making it all fit and work?
Yeah, well, the great thing, as you just explained, about having the multi-campuses and in our ICT degree, which is our probably more general and our bigger footprint degree, it's across Sunshine Coast, Moreton Bay, and online. I have had students that will do one on the Sunshine Coast and one online and one at Moreton Bay because they live in the middle. And we often have quite a number of classes that you can sort of pick from. Most of my students, I would say, maybe 2 days a week they're on campus. But the thing that I love about our approach is actually we've taken an even more modern approach to how we learn as well. And that is we now, rather than sit in a lecture theatre and have someone talk at you, as Alex was explaining, we tend to have, particularly in our on-campus contact, they're much smaller classes, and it's that opportunity to ask questions and do things together, apply the practical, go through those really hard to understand concepts, but in a smaller group where your voice can really be heard. That being said, I know that is terrifying for some people because they like to be a little bit more introverted. And I can say that I have some online students whose worst nightmare would be sitting in a classroom having someone call upon them. And they love and thrive in our online environment because they can sit there behind their keyboard, they can ask their questions as they feel comfortable, and they're working with other students who are very similar in that kind of way. So it is so very flexible. But like I love that Alex has a giant whiteboard. That's very cool. But those who might need a little bit of extra help, we do actually have academic support programs that can help you with when should I put this in my calendar and all of those sorts of things. So we don't expect everyone to come straight into the program knowing how to do this. We do have some very structured and then slightly less structured ways to help everybody through. But yes, you don't have to come and spend 3 hours being talked at and then go home and then prepare your tutorial questions and come in, which is what uni used to look like. It's these kind of pre-work that you can look at. Some of it's a video, some of it might be part of your Google search, some of it might be some hands-on learning. And then you get to come in and work together with the academics and our sessionals, our tutors, and your peers to be able to actually, I guess, learn what you want to do. And yes, many of our students have existing careers. We have some that are even working in WA and so have to schedule around their lunchtime to be able to actually get into our daylight saving. Don't even get me started. But yeah, we are very flexible. And the great thing about, I think, my colleagues as well is we understand that, life is life. We all have families and kids and stuff too. So we do understand and we do our very best to support everyone with what they need as well.
Thanks, Erica. I think you really summed up the learning model here at UniSC perfectly across IT, but across a range of our other programs as well. And I think this is a really great segue. Ashley, one of our attendees tonight, has asked, I want to pivot my career into IT in some way, like some shape or field. There's a few, you know what, IT is a lot more diverse than people realize. Is there a career path I can take and do it in reverse from obviously studying and then getting the career? She do it reverse? And is there work fields that exist without a qualification and she can level up as she, I guess, gains interest, passions, and wants to motivate and upskill along the way? Do you have, Erica, would you have any advice for Ashley?
So this is a sort of tough one because I personally know people who've done this. But I also know that IT is getting increasingly tight and does look at some of those sort of certifications and things as well. So, look, you definitely could. go sort of across. One of my tutors, in fact, used to work for Personal Plates Queensland, now runs his own ethical AI business in Moreton Bay. He has a bachelor in psychology, but he has gotten himself into the degree and has slowly upskilled. So it is absolutely possible. It is about the opportunities that are presented to you. So we often have people who are working in a particular field study in parallel with us and transition sideways within that company. So we had someone who worked for real estate, who completed some of our cybersecurity courses. Their work integrated learning project was a full cyber review of the company they worked for. And by the end of that, they were appointed as the security manager of the real estate that they were working for. And so quite often it can happen in that kind of way as well, which is not quite in reverse. It's kind of almost lockstep or parallel. So there are ways that you can do that, but I would say it's slightly harder perhaps than trying perhaps some part-time study and using those industry credentials to help you get your foot in the door. Because I think as we move more into the AI space, they are looking at a little bit more qualifications to support it, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it the other way. It just might be more challenging unless you've got those opportunities right there.
Yeah, that's really good. So it sounds like even just pursuing a small amount of study might be the best way to actually see if you really love it and get some mentorship and build some relationships, where that might be with one of our fellow partners at TAFE and starting that Cert 3, Cert 4 route. I know the Cert 4 in cybersecurity is a great segue into our program, and receive some fantastic credit. Or alternatively, UniSC as well has some shorter programs around that undergrad cert to diploma pathways as well that might be worth pursuing or having a look at. So both are a bit of a balancing act. Obviously, it takes a little bit of balance of work experience, but I think a study is the right way to go because they are quite technical skills, and getting that mentorship might actually pivot your career twice as quickly versus going just the work experience route and not having that piece of paper or that skill set from that piece of paper to get you there. And I think
Yeah,
that's
and
pretty much going to. Oh,
I was going to say it might leverage you into a different type of position. So if you were to go directly into IT, you might start very entry level, but if you take on a little bit of study, 1 to 2 years part-time, you might be able to go in at a more management level, which means that you can bring in the skills that you've got from your previous career or degrees, and you might sort of leapfrog it up a bit. Whereas if you start introductory, you might have to take longer to work up. So it's a very complex thing to try and look at. But by all means, have a chat to our study advisors because they can also point you towards some of our resources.
yeah, thanks, Erica. And I think this is segues really well into my final question of the evening, and this will be for Alex as well. But I'm going to start off with you, Erica. Is what are the sort of our, well, for Alex, it's going to be like, what's your current plan when you're graduating? What do you want to kind of look at? What sort of areas are you passionate about? But for Erica, what are you, I know you're so close to so many of our students. I know we've met professionally just because of the relationships you have with some of the students. What are some of the jobs they're going on to from the programs that you've worked around?
So at the moment, particularly in computer science, we've got a lot of students going into cybersecurity roles. So I mentioned CyberMerc set up a base on the Sunshine Coast earlier this year, and a couple of my CS students have gone directly to work for those. We have a number of jobs that are starting to look at including AI, and so we've got a couple of businesses, particularly on the Sunshine Coast at the moment as well, who are looking at, they may have done traditionally accounting and law, but now they want to look at how can they improve their business processes using AI and things like that. So I think probably the current batch coming through, we've got a lot of sort of web services, web development, those kinds of teams. We've got some cloud and backend teams. We keep stealing our graduates for our own IT team. So they're doing a lot of that kind of support too. Like we steal them like Alex before they even get out the door. They're like, no, they're ours. We're keeping them. But councils, all those sorts of things. But yeah, we're definitely a lot going into cybersecurity. It's definitely an area that even with AI is going to be super crucial going forward. So a lot of people going into that space. And one of my graduates actually is now at Atlassian, loving his life, working from the beach and working for a really, really big software company.
Really cool. And Alex, over to you. You got a year and your plans can change 100 times, especially through obviously doing internship. But you obviously have a current goal. You're on the back end of your degree. What does life look like after finishing uni next year?
So you did mention talking about how much you do enjoy solving problems, and to be honest, I kind of love where I am. My first week at the IT help desk, I got a call. I spent 45 minutes on the phone, which was a record at student help desk. And I was so knocked out of shape that I came in unpaid on the Tuesday and updated the ticket. I wasn't meant to be working, and I did not claim this on my timesheet, but I updated the ticket because I found the solution because that whole night I spent up. I could not sleep. And I feel I, got the feedback on that ticket. I called her and solved the problem, and she was so thankful. She was 72 and just going back into study. So obviously all this MFA and even web browsers were completely foreign to her. And
So
yeah,
MFA
just
is
hearing,
multi-factor authentication for anyone that doesn't know. It's, yeah, don't feel bad if you don't know that. We don't need you to know that when you walk in the door, just FYI.
you will know soon enough if you study here. It is essential. But I think just hearing that feedback and kind of knowing that I personally helped someone solve a problem that they couldn't have solved on their own through the knowledge I've gained at uni it was everything to me. So yeah, I think that's where I want to be. If I can stay with the uni, love you guys. But I do want to look at the council and maybe opportunities there. But yeah,
Oh, Alex, you can be my IT guy, mate. Anytime.
on
Um,
call.
yeah, and it sounds like you like working with people, which is like another part of an IT role. So there's certain IT roles where you can be doing your own thing. Most of the work is obviously client related and solving problems or building things, which is cool. But it sounds like you want to be closer to the front face, working with people, solving situations and problems, and being able to get really helping that customer or that customer experience be keep on moving along their journey or whatever their role is, so they can keep doing a fantastic job, which is really cool. It sounds like you're being able to help a student who's much more in a mature age of life and coming back to study, which is um, like I think as something that's also a massive achievement in itself. How the diversity of students that come to UniSC in all different universities here in Australia. And I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this afternoon. I think we have one more question that has come through this afternoon, which is mainly around credit, which we have answered. But I think that's what we're going to call it a night. I just want to say thank you, Erica, and thank you, Alex, for joining us this evening. From here, there'll be a chance for you to connect with these guys through our recordings, but also on campus next year if you plan on studying with us. I know Alex is still an ambassador with us next year as well. We're going to start moving into the wrapping up of this presentation. But once again, I just want to say thank you to our special team members for joining us tonight. So after tonight, if you do have any further questions or you want to tour one of our campuses, you can actually book a call in with our uni expert. There's actually a banner across all of our program pages and home pages across our website. This is where you can click on that banner, book a campus tour, or book in a 30-minute consult with the study advisor. Now, that exact same team, if you just want to give them a call, is our Student Central team on 0754302890. And you can give them a call anytime that suits you, Monday to Friday in business hours. Or alternatively, like I said, come onto campus, meet up with them, book in their consult time, travel, see the facilities, see if it's the right fit for you. A lot of them might be even past students themselves or current students, and they can tell you all the insider knowledge on how to make it a really good fit. Thank you for joining us tonight. As mentioned, tomorrow morning I'm going to send you out an email with a copy of the recording as well as a QTAC voucher form as well. If you are looking to apply for any of our degrees at UniSC, use this voucher, save yourself $155 on that application fee, and we look forward to seeing you on campus next year. We're going to stick around a couple more minutes. If you do have any more dying questions, throw them into the Q&A, and Joe and myself will be answering them now. For the rest of you, enjoy the rest of the night. I hope you enjoy your Christmas break and the time with your family, and we look forward to seeing you on campus. Thank you all.